How King Charles has shaken up the royals in his first year, including ruthless deep freeze of Prince Harry and Andrew. Greetings from Royal Family Lud, my channel. 1 year after the passing of his cherished mother, King Charles IUA isn't only considering the coming year, he wants to protect the monarchy for many years to come. According to senior sources, his objective is to make sure the monarchy is fit for purpose by the time he passes the reins to Prince William. There will be fewer working royals, less money spent on security, fewer middle-ranking staff members, and a more diverse workforce as a result. According to a reliable source, His Majesty feels that the monarchy ought to be a well-functioning economical machine with a distinct mission. A year into his rule, he is aware that he is ultimately responsible, and he intends to establish his power. Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth had her own way of doing things, but the king has made it clear that while he respects tradition, he's not afraid to make changes. Since Elizabeth Yu's death, the royal environment has drastically shifted, yet it is now obvious that those who questioned Charles before his ascension greatly underestimated him. He was emotionally moved by the crowd's cries of "God Save the King" as he exited his car outside Buckingham Palace following the Queen's passing, and by a woman's hug when he arrived back from Scotland. He realized for the first time that the throng had gathered merely to see him and wish him well. It provided him with the impetus he needed to accept his kingship. He will undoubtedly have emotions on Friday, the anniversary of the Queen's passing, but he will also have a chance to think back on his first year in the position that is his destiny. In the Scottish Highlands, at her beloved Balmoral, King Charles will discreetly commemorate the occasion. He will take comfort in the fact that it was a location where she found tranquility throughout her life. Although Charles is not one to rest on his laurels, he has infused his personality into his rule ever since the late Queen's funeral. He has always said that it won't be an exact replica of his late mother's. His method would be used. There have been small adjustments. Less dogs and horses are depicted in some of the wall art that has been altered. His first foreign mission made a bigger impression on the international stage than prior state visits. He vowed to strengthen relations between the UK and Germany following Brexit and said it was our sacred mission to come together in support of Ukraine following Vladimir Putin's invasion. He will make a second state visit this month that was postponed because of protests in Paris and Bordeaux, France, with a similar message. According to what I've heard, Charles will travel to Australia in the fall of 2013 before the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Samoa. Given that Charles is their king, the Australian government will take the initiative in organizing the state visit. They will also be responsible for paying for it, and such a visit is not inexpensive. Thank you. Please subscribe to my channel. The Queen's last formal long-haul visit to Australia in October 2011 reportedly cost about $1.74 million, £890,000. However, the figure also included the charter of a jet for long-haul flights. Rejected royals. Charles wants to stay away from more expensive royal showcase events. After the Queen's death, state funeral, and coronation, he will downplay his historic 75th birthday with no major celebrations scheduled. For the king, lowering taxes and increasing effectiveness. One senior aide remarked, "He has made up his mind, and he will accomplish it." Under Charles, a new era is in progress. There have already been changes. Just Charles's crew of working royals and his immediate family were present on the main palace balcony. No Harry and Meghan, no Prince Andrew, Duke of York, who is in disgrace. Both of those difficulties have been addressed by Charles decisively. Despite his love for him, he won't let his rebellious ways endanger his authority. Disgraced even while Andrew is, of course, present at family gatherings, and was this summer at Balmoral and Christmas at Sandringham, he hasn't been allowed to leave the deep freeze. The rumor that William might welcome Andrew and Harry back into the royal family is unfounded, according to an insider. Of course, Andrew is a member of the family and will attend family events, but he won't be making a formal comeback, sorry. That won't happen, I assure you. Harry and I communicate extremely infrequently. There needs to be more time since time is a tremendous healer. Cost effectiveness. The King's Way is being implemented gradually, with Queen Camilla and Prince William serving as his principal enforcers. The old guard of Elizabeth II has changed in several cases. Up until May 2023, Sir Edward Young and Sir Clive Alderton shared the role of King Charles II's joint principal private secretary. Angela Kelly, the late Queen Elizabeth's former dresser and right-hand woman, announced just before the king was crowned that she was leaving her house of grace and favor beneath Windsor Castle. She failed to add in her cryptic online rants about being kicked out that the king had given her a new home in the north, nearer to her family, as payment for a promise his mother had made to her. She will live there for the rest of her life. Charles has treated the fragile Princess Alexandra and the Dukes of Kent and Gloucester with the utmost respect in recognition of the many years of public service their first cousins, his late mother's parents, have provided to the monarchy. He has urged them to go to family gatherings and official royal parties. The king is very concerned about his extended family, but he also understands that for the legitimacy of the monarchy, reforms must be made. It is more about expense and efficiency than it is about having a slimmed-down monarchy, which his own sister, Princess Anne, remarked on television doesn't sound like a good idea. Cost-effectiveness of his reign is important to the king. To get the most value for the taxpayers' money, cuts must be made, although not always to the budget. According to those close to him, his main goal for the next 5 years is to make the monarchy functional. To do this, he has worked closely with his son and heir William, although unlike what has been falsely portrayed, Charles is the one making the decisions, not some sort of joint monarchy. Charles was eager to start using Teslas as the royal automobile fleet, staying true to his enthusiasm for environmental causes. The decision was made to go with an Audi instead because they are more durable in the end. But it is an indication that he is no longer hampered by the aura of his late mother or the domineering nature of his father. He alone makes the choices. To increase the effectiveness of the royal household, he is already taking steps to fire 20% of the middle management workforce. Additionally, he wants there to be up to 20% greater diversity within the household, with more people from ethnic minorities holding prominent jobs. When there are too many people performing the same tasks, King Charles and Queen Camilla are keen to simplify the workforce. Many will be impacted. Prince Andrew has reportedly been asked to leave Windsor's Royal Lodge because he wants to minimize the number of homes in the royal portfolio. As part of the arrangements, Harry and Meghan were also booted from Frogmore Cottage in March. A smaller monarchy with fewer working royals is already in the works. However, Charles cannot reduce family without also reducing employees. Aware of the cost a large household places on the taxpayer, he is aware that fewer royals also equate to lower security costs. Vice Admiral Sir Tony Johnstone Burt, the master of the household, had previously heard about the cuts directly from Queen Camilla, Charles' enforcer at court. Like the king, Camilla thinks that for the royal family to thrive, it must be perceived as modern. Feathers will be ruffled, but Charles is adamant about implementing the required adjustments because he believes doing so is the best way to ensure a strong monarchy. Senior source: the senior courtiers will have to comprehend that the melody has changed and that the king, not the late queen, is the conductor.